Hey group leaders, Pastor Luke here again, and super excited to jump into this session on helping group members identify their calling. Now, one of the biggest things that you have to do as a group leader in this area is help to call out the strengths of people in your group. Because most of the time, people don't realize that their strengths are actually a strength. Oftentimes, people just think that if they can do something, other people can do it the same way. And so it's your job as a group leader to first create a culture where we're calling some of those things out of the people in your group, and the way that you're giving affirming answers, and the way you're getting to know the people in your group to be able to do that. But then also taking the individual time to really speak life into that. We talk about how we want to have life-giving groups. And with that, of course, we want them to be life-giving. We want to be speaking words of encouragement over our group members. And as we do that, that's actually going to help people start to identify what their calling might be. But then you're calling out as you hear what it is that people are passionate about, as you hear different opportunities for people to step up and serve the kingdom using their gifts well. One of the next things that you might come up against as you're helping your group to identify what a next step for them might be with serving or just identifying what their calling is that they could easily fall into the comparison trap. And just looking at, well, I can't do this the way that so-and-so does, and fill in the blank there. But you'd be able to say, yeah, that's right, you can't, but maybe they've been doing it longer. Or you would bring something different to the table. You don't need to do it the way that they do it. You need to do it the way that you can. Offer your strengths to be able to do that. How did God uniquely call you to be the one that did that? And so now then, it's your job as a group leader. Michael Murphy says this: it's the leader's goal to look for keys in each person to unlock their God-given potential and motivation to make a difference. That's what you're looking to do. That is what your goal is. And I hope that fires you up to walk alongside, to get into the trenches with people in your group and to help them to be able to serve the kingdom at a whole other capacity, because they've identified how they can make the most difference, what it is that their calling is. And man, watch out when you help people do that, because they're going to be off to the races, and how exciting is that to think about. Now, one of the ways that you might be able to help people identify what this looks like and to be able to call forth and exhort that for them is giving them a spiritual gifts test. This is something that we do in our growth track called Encounter Connect. But as people go through that, it's a great way for them to evaluate, am I using my gifts to serve God's kingdom the way that my capacity would really allow me to do? And to be able to ask some follow-up questions as they go through that. Because some people might take a spiritual gifts test like that and think of something that they had no idea. It was just totally off their radar that it was something that they were gifted at. But you might read that and say, you know what, as I've gotten to know you, this totally makes sense, and I see this in you. And to be able to pull that out of them, it might set them on a completely different path for their life. One of the great questions that you can ask to help your group to continue to reflect through this is, are you using your capacity to serve the kingdom? Are you using your capacity to serve the kingdom? This isn't about building our church. This isn't about building your group. This is about, what does God want to do? And helping people identify their calling along that, with how their strengths would line up, how their individual gifting will put them in such a place as this, for such a time as this, to be able to use their gifts to make an impact for His kingdom. That's what we want to help people try to figure out.